Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me in another of my wonderful interviews. As you can see, I have a guest in the studio. It's Tim Basley from Fair Play Now, the YouTube channel, which is growing by day into citizen journalism, is it?
Hopefully, yes. Yeah, that's what I like to think of it.
I know I've met Tim at numerous events where we've been out and about doing... Well, you've been doing filming and I've been doing talks, and you've been filming me, and we've been at various different events. I think the first one you did was at the Better Way conference back in June, wasn't it?
Yeah, that seems like a long time ago now.
Doesn't it?
4 months ago.
So I want to ask, so Tim's come down, he's actually come, and on his channel, Fair Play Now, you'll find in a couple of days' time, I think, an interview, a sort of real... what would you call it? A forensic attack of the votes, just like the BBC, where they go in for the... Well, it's not quite like that, is it?
No, I thought it was a bit more laid back.
It was very laid back. It was a lovely interview. I say that because I was the subject, but no, it was a very nice interview that you did, looking at all sorts of different aspects of me, which was very kind. I'd never expected to be interviewed, and I mean, I'm doing all these interviews that I do, and yet people have been quite interested in, I suppose, the backstory of me. So I thought, whilst you were here, Tim, I had the opportunity to grab you and find out a little bit about your backstory, because I'm sure there will be some viewers who watch both of us.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've had comments where, have you seen such and such on Tim's channel? So I know that happens. And but before we do that though, let's just talk about the whole YouTube thing, because we're both in the sort of truth freedom movement.
Indeed we are, yes.
It's quite nice because although we all have our own channels, don't feel I'm a rival with anything.
I don't, no. By the way, thanks for having me on the show as well. Much appreciated.
It's my pleasure.
And it's great to be in the studio, the famous studio.
What do you think of this studio?
Well, I think it's great. All the backdrop and everything there. Whereas with my videos, you've just got the back of my van or the back of my armchair in the background, and that's about it.
Well, people, my viewers will know I've sort of built this for a long time ago, really, and not with the truth movement stuff. But going back to that, because when you're in business now, what do you do? Because you don't do this full time, as I've managed to secure sort of. Well, I don't have time to work because the channel's just taken over. But you do.
I do indeed. Yes, I'm an electrician. Mainly electrician. I do property maintenance as well. So I do some other bits and pieces. Changing taps sometimes, a bit of decorating, but I'm a qualified electrician, and that's what I like to do mostly. And I'm in people's homes doing.
So you're in people's homes, not only on your YouTube channel, but physically as a handyman.
Yeah, basically electrician stroke handyman. Yes,
fantastic.
Indeed.
Well, I don't want to tell you how old this property is and the rewiring that it actually needs. I'm a bit nervous about that because I've been in here 32 years and it hasn't been rewired in that time.
Well, I couldn't help glancing up there and seeing the ceiling rose,
Yeah, and I think that's one I put in. Oh, and you can't see this, luckily, ladies and gentlemen, but some of it's still the red and black.
Yeah, that's okay. It's when you've got rubber sheath cables that it's a problem.
I'm not going to say whether that's good, bad, or indifferent in this house because it'll probably get me closed down. But so that's your day job.
It is indeed.
And you whiz around. But in that business, do you feel that you are a rival with other businesses of a similar nature, all vying for work?
No, not really. Anything to do with construction, it's undersubscribed really. Oversubscribed as far as customers are concerned, and underrepresented as far as tradespeople are concerned. And this has been the case for a good 25 years now. Probably almost everybody watching will be thinking to themselves, oh yeah, try getting a plumber or an electrician in.
Yes.
And if they turn up at all, they'll probably be an hour late and all this.
So let me ask that then, because that's always interesting, isn't it? Because people do book people and then they don't turn up. I would never dream of not turning up if someone... I mean, I know you get... When I was an entertainer, you'd get some piddling jobs, which wasn't a lot of money. Then another job, which was a hell of a lot more money. You go, oh, I wish I'd taken that one. But I would always honour whatever job it was, even if it was, especially if it was a charity and you were doing it for next to nothing and they were demanding loads from you. So why is it that some of these builders just don't turn up?
I don't know. It could be they've just forgotten about the job. I've done that in my time myself. I've forgotten to put the message into the diary, so I get a message saying, oh, where are you? And, oh, sorry, I forgot to put you in the diary, and I apologise profusely. But some people, they don't even bother going back to the customer. A lot of the time...
It's hard to believe.
I don't know. It's just common courtesy. If I'm running late, I like to ring the customer up and say, sorry, I'm going to be 10 minutes late.
Yes.
It's only treating people how you want to be treated yourself.
So you run your YouTube channel. What got you into YouTube then?
Well, I did a video course in 2018. It was only about a 4-day course, so not nearly as much training as you. But
well, I wouldn't say I was trained, self-trained more. Like, I mean, as we were saying in your interview,
yeah,
I was working with Super 8 and stuff as a kid. But yeah, sorry.
But I thought, what would I do if I won the lottery? Which would be hard because I don't do it. But
well, that's always a drawback, isn't it?
Yeah, but if I won the lottery, I didn't have to work anymore. I'd still want to be doing something. What would I do? And it'd be making videos, maybe review videos of things I'd been doing and things I'd bought, just to help people out, really.
Right.
And I sort of set up another channel, a review channel. And then when this whole crazy thing, this nonsense hit in 2020, have you heard of a lady called Anna Breeze?
Anna Breeze? No.
Well, she was a lady, she's an ex-BBC journalist, I believe.
Right.
And some people have got their doubts about her, but back in 2020, sort of late spring, summer, she had a YouTube channel with, I think, probably about 30,000 subscribers, and she just sent in an invitation to us, public. Well, what do you think about this situation we're in, about the lockdowns and all of the other stuff? And there was loads of people who sent in, you could send a video in. She limited you to 10 minutes, so you would sort of film yourself on your phone, send it in, and loads of people did it. And I found it fascinating because there was all these people out there who thought exactly the same way as I did,
right,
about the nonsense, and they were sort of coming out with all
sorts.
And
prior to that, did you think that you were in the minority?
Yeah, I thought we were pretty much alone.
Yes.
Luckily, my wife Lorraine's on the same page, but everyone else was just going along with the narrative, really. But yeah, when I saw all of these other people, it was an eye-opener, and I eventually sent in a video. It took me a while to get round to it, but I sent in my little 10-minute video, and I thought, oh, this is good, but why restrict myself to just one 10-minute video when I could sort of just set up my own YouTube channel, because I'd already done it, and make all my own videos. So I set up Fair Play Now. It's pretty much a 3rd year anniversary of it.
Oh, brilliant.
So I set that up in late August, early September of 2020, and just started venting my spleen.
So where does the name Fair Play Now come from?
Well, sort of that saying, oh, fair play to you, and,
right,
sort of fair play. And I just thought, I want a little bit of fair play, and I want it now.
Yes.
And I was... a bit angry about the whole situation back then, and that's where the name came from, and
here you are now.
I've used it ever since. So yeah.
Then I have had 2 strikes on YouTube, badge of honour, I suppose, because you feel that if you are attacked in that way, and it's not for anything gratuitous or really nasty, but it's something you feel passionate about, you must be close to the subject that somebody doesn't want you to get out. That's how I interpret it. You've had videos taken down. Have you had strikes and things?
Yeah, I've had 2 strikes as well.
Have you?
Until recently, it was
Competition now then.
Yeah, it's 2-1 to me, but Rich has come in with the equaliser.
Well, the trouble is, if you get the third, you're off. Although it works. I mean, I've had the great reset on the channel, because after 90 days you get. Shouldn't really say that, should I? But you get put back to 0.
Yeah,
again.
You go back to 0 after 90 days.
God, otherwise you could easily lose the channel. Although if people looked at the content of mine in any great depth, they'd find reason enough to find more strikes. But yes, so you've had 2 strikes. Sorry, I interrupted you.
I've had 2 strikes as well. The first one was probably about June of 21. It was just when the channel was starting to take off quite nicely, because I went the first 9 months or 8 or 9 months of the channel. I had no more than 20 subscribers, but I was happy to talk to them and to say things how I saw them, give some valuable resources. I always like to, well, not always, but maybe every other video, put in a resource for people, whether it's a useful video or an article I've read. Just to give a bit of value to people, and and
where would people in general agreeing with your point of view? I suppose they must be, because that's how you get an audience, isn't it? Because they're on your wavelength.
Yes. Pretty much. Obviously, you get the odd sort of snippy comment here and there, but they're vastly outweighed by the lovely comments.
Do they affect you, the negative? Because I know when I started up mine with the heritage, landscape, and nature and stuff, and it was a small audience, and you had more time to read all of the comments. The snippy comments, as you say, would. Or the snarky ones would stick out more, and it would remind me of my entertainment days when you've got an audience and everyone's smiling and happy and they're enjoying it, apart from him, apart from that one. And then in the end, you're working to try and get that one person to enjoy it, forgetting that the 99% are enjoying it. Only to have that one person at the end come back, even though they didn't smile or do anything, say, I really enjoyed that. And so it's like, oh, I've just completely misread how he was taking. He said, oh, I don't smile much, but I really enjoyed your performance. Oh, all right. So did the comments used to affect you very much?
No, and it's when you do a YouTube channel, you're putting your head above the parapet, and you have to expect a few arrows to come your way. But it's all water off a duck's back as far as I'm concerned. I suppose it's being a self-employed tradesman for a long time. You get the odd person who has a go at you about work you've done, even though you've done a good job. You always get people who sort of say, oh, I don't like the way you've done that, and I don't like the way you've done this, and you have to do a bit of damage limitation,
right?
Or if it's just stupid, that the complaint, you just sort of, well, not ignore it, but you kind of, it's just water off a duck's back.
Yes. Well, otherwise it would drag you down, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. I'm not bothered by them, and also you do get some of the regular ones, and you just think, why would you watch someone who disagrees with you?
Yes,
100% every single video, or most videos. Well, they've got to be getting paid for it, haven't they? They wouldn't be doing it for free. I
know. I mean, what kind of mentality, when they could be watching the videos they do enjoy?
Yeah.
And yet they must get some enjoyment, or they're paid, out of bringing people down. So talking about bringing people down, I mean, here we are in a situation that we've gone through the pandemic. We've had people having to take certain medical interventions that they thought maybe was good at the time, and perhaps some of them are beginning to regret that. And we're in this sort of lull, expecting something. I think a lot of people I talk to are saying, oh yeah, we're expecting something to happen, but we're not quite sure what. Where are you with the world and what we're at? Because you're exposed, as I am, as you go around and you listen to people's talks and you're filming them and all that. What's your feeling about the situation that we're in?
Well, I'm quite well known on my channel for being an optimist. People have said that to me. Love your optimistic view, and I think that in the end, things are going to come right. I don't know how, don't ask me how, but I think they're going to come right. And especially if people like you and me and everybody else speaks out, you don't need a YouTube channel for it. Just as long as you're speaking to family and friends and neighbours and leaving comments under other videos and articles. Every little bit helps, as the advert goes from a supermarket I won't mention. But with everybody doing this, more and more people are going to gradually wake up, I think. You might disagree with me, but that's just how I feel.
And I'm often banging on about the tyrannical nature of government at the moment, and how our supposed leaders, by the way, they're our servants because we pay them to do this thing. And increasingly more, I'm trying to remind people that these people are not our masters, because we're all sovereign individuals. No one, we're all born equal, so no one should, in theory, be able to dominate you unless you've agreed to it in advance, which I suppose it's what we do when we vote them in, or take part in any of this nonsense. But we are in this very tyrannical government. I mean, what are the things that the government have been offering us that worries you the most?
Well, there's been a spate of them recently, haven't there? The online safety bill, which is okay, the intentions are supposed to be good, protecting little ones from online harms, but
do you think that will affect us?
Who knows? It could do.
Because if it's supposed to, as you say, if it's supposed to save the young ones, when people may not know this if you're just a watcher, unless you've got a channel, you have to tick a box to say it's not made for children. Well, if you've ticked that box, and I'm sure you've ticked the box because our content wouldn't be suitable for children, if you've ticked that box, then the young ones are not really catered for. So in theory, we should still have the right to a certain level of free speech, granted that YouTube has its terms and conditions, and provided we agree to those, if you can actually work out what those terms and conditions actually are, then the fact that if we agree to a private company's terms and conditions, we've said it's not appropriate for children, so we're in a band, then how does the online safety bill in my theory, how would that affect us?
Well, the way I understand it is the wording's quite vague in the bill, and it could be at some point in the future maybe twisted and used against the likes of you and me. So very basically that's the way I understand it. I know a lot of people are very worried about it, think it could well be used in the future to attack our freedom of speech, as if it hasn't been attacked enough as it is.
Well, it's being curtailed all the time. I'm just slightly aware that your camera, I'm just going to straighten out, it is...
Oh, right.
It is. There's a second camera. Oh, that's a bit straighter. There we go.
Technical
Look at that.
Issues, yeah.
Technical issues in the studio, but the audience love all that, don't they?
They do.
They love when things just go wrong. In fact, I'm sure they're waiting for the Spitfire to fall off the background. But anyway, So.
Oh, and the WHO treaty. That's a worrying one.
That's another worrying one. Yeah.
Yeah. Need to mention that.
So that's the treaty that will take our sovereignty away.
Supposedly, if another lurgy comes along, as I call them, and the powers that shouldn't be, the WHO decide that we need to lock down and wear muzzles and all of the rest of it, it will be them dictating and not the government. So apparently, sovereignty, state sovereignty will go to the WHO in the event of an emergency. And of course, if that state of affairs comes, there'll be emergencies all the time, I'd have thought.
Well, I mean, these lurgies seem to be coming like buses at the moment, don't they?
They
or
do.
At least the threat of them. I mean, whereupon, what was the last one? The Spanish flu in 1918 or something. And then just over 100 years later, we had the lurgy of 3 years ago. You would think, surely, if there is another one to come, and who's to say that there wouldn't be, but why would it come so rapidly? Why, you know, with all the technology and the cleverness and the communication that we've got and all of that, why would we not be able to sort of go, we can mitigate against this, not by injecting things into people, but by just use the technology that we've got to make sure that it doesn't move about.
Yeah, well, that's simplifying things a bit too much. And
sorry about that. That's just me.
Yeah, it's not about simply, getting rid of problems. It's about a little bit more than that, bringing in a bit of dystopia here and there, and this horrible future that I don't know about the audience, but I didn't vote for it, and I'm sure you didn't vote for it, and I'm sure you guys out there didn't vote for it either.
No, and I mean, my thoughts is so much of what the governments and these unelected, unaccountable think tank operators is that the policies they're putting forward are so anti-human.
Yeah.
That why would anybody want them? You know, I mean, I don't mind the fact that somebody will put forward, we want to put everybody into a dog kennel. And then you just think that people will go, well, actually, I don't want that. That's me not actually putting my phone on silent. So there we go. Look at that. All the professionalism, Tim, has gone out of the window here.
Dear.
Dear, oh dear, oh dear. But why would, as you say, you quite rightly say, nobody's asked for these things.
No.
So why is it happening? And worse, why are people not saying we didn't vote for it? I mean, I know some people are, but I would have just imagined that
everybody should be.
A greater portion would say, wait, you're our servants. You can't implement something we've not asked for.
Exactly. It's been a mystery as far as I'm concerned throughout the whole lot. But I think everybody looking down and being so compliant at the start of all of this nonsense has just given the powers that shouldn't be that extra boost, and they think they can get away with all sorts now. They think they can get away with ULEZ expansions and 20 mile an hour speed limits and 20 and 15 minute cities. And
do you know if there's any more plans to advance these 20 mile an hour perishing speed things? I mean, in Wales, I know that it's. I showed a map on a video the other day of all these different things of where it is, places to avoid, if you can. Are they encroaching into the UK? Do you know?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know, but
I'm sure they will be, though.
Well, unless we push back, we just need to keep in obviously a lawful way. Keep pushing back and making our displeasure known.
Yes.
And
we are not pleased.
Exactly,
we are very displeased.
Yeah.
We are not amused, as Queen Victoria used to say. I don't know if she actually said that, but...
well, she was supposed to have done, wasn't she?
Yeah.
We are not amused.
We could do... in fact, we could do with some sort of royalty that actually was a bit more taking more interest in the people. What's your impression of our... HRH Charles the Third. Charles the Third. I was nearly thinking of something that rhymes with it then.
Or sausage fingers.
Yes, that's it.
As he's called. Yes, I'm not a fan. Wasn't really a fan of the Queen either. I know I was back in the day. I wasn't a royalist, but I wasn't anti either. It's just they're an entity out there. They've got nothing to do with me, no impact on my life. So as long as they're not sort of harming me, sort of live and let live. But since the events of, well, now I know what I know now, they're just all part of the same ruling elite who haven't got our best interests at heart. And I don't think Charlie Boy, he certainly hasn't got our interest at heart at all. And
what do you think? Do you think more people are turning off the royals because of him than they did with old Liz?
I think so. Yeah, I did a job. It was around her funeral time, so about this time last year, I suppose. And I was in this house, and they're very much royalists. They had the TV on with all the funeral stuff going on. They had lots of royal kind of plates and all of the paraphernalia around the house and cabinets and things. And even this lady was saying, oh, I don't like Charles and I don't like Camilla. So even though she's really into the Queen, so a staunch royalist, but not so keen on Charles. So make of that what you will.
Yeah. Well, it was a weird. I mean, I'd never seen a coronation before because I was too young. And you're a smidgen younger than me.
Yeah.
And so neither of us would have seen one, but I had seen bits of the black and white one with Queen Elizabeth in. I mean, obviously there's the famous bit where the crown is clunked on her head. Obviously not hard enough. But this time round, it just seemed so staged, and people didn't look like they really wanted to be there. There was a sort of weird sense. I mean, what did you think of it?
I didn't really watch it.
Oh, right.
To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I saw the odd snippet here and there, but I probably only
Avoided
about
it.
probably about 1% of it,
Yes.
and that was only because I was in people's houses or.
Oh, so you were working that day, were you?
I can't remember. Was I well, I might have been in a pub actually.
Yes.
I might have been in a pub getting the
There we go.
out on a cycle ride, which I like doing. Just getting an orange juice and lemonade, not a alcoholic drink, and then I went in and I think I saw it on the screen in there.
And had a whiskey and soda quick.
Yeah. Yes. Soon drove me to drink. Yeah.
So what do you do? So you run your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And you're out there doing similar things to me, but you often film other people.
Yes.
Which is fantastic because I have guests on mine. You're filming people doing stuff and reporting on bits and bobs, which is lovely. And we're all doing our individual bit to try and, I hate that term, wake people up, but expose the nonsense that's going on for what it is. So, what do you do to relax and escape from all of this?
Well, I do a bit of cycling. I was sort of saying your local town here on the south coast, I cycled right past the pier the other week. I like to get my bike onto a train, go to the start point and then cycle, 30 miles, 35 miles and get to the end point, then on another train home. So it makes a nice day out. And so that's one of the things I do. I was saying before this interview how I did like a bit of golf.
Right, yes.
And in fact, I'm playing this weekend, but things like that, I don't know. It just seems unimportant. I should be doing more important things like what we're doing, reporting on things.
It does. It has that weird sense, doesn't it? That it's. I mean, certainly to me, that it's vital. And sometimes I think, I'd just like to have a nice day out or a day off. But I feel incredibly guilty if I do that. If I can turn a day into an excuse, so you coming down, we went down to the seafront there, or just back from the seafront and had some sausage and chips. I know, think of the waistline and the, the sunflower oil it's probably cooked in. I know people, but you've got to treat yourself once in a while to something a bit cheeky.
Indeed.
But if I can leave the phone at home, leave the emails, because I spend too long in front of the screen.
Well, yes, that's the problem.
And thinking all these, the thoughts batting away the demons. So if I can do that, then I can justify it because it feels like I've had a bit of a day out, and it was nice to get to know Tim.
Yeah, and thank you very much for inviting me here. It's been absolutely great talking to you.
And the nice thing,
you interviewing me.
Absolutely. And I discovered that we both share, well, we don't share it, but we both have the same main camera.
We do, yes.
Which is a lovely camera. It's not this one I'm filming on here. This is an old camera that I use. But it was very nice when you got it. I thought, there's a man who knows his gear.
Yeah, Panasonic Lumix S5. So
That's it.
A beautiful piece of kit. I do like going to these events. The recent Uprise and Shine event there in East Sussex, and all sorts of other events I've been to and I'm going to. I just think it's fantastic to get out there, film these things, get it up online on this platform, or the naughtiest stuff on other platforms that I've got.
Such as what, Rumble?
Rumble, yeah, that's Fair Play Now, UK, all one word, is the Rumble one. And yeah, I think.
Do you ever get
fantastic.
any problem with some of the speakers saying, "Oh no, please don't film me because it's it's my gig"?
Well, not much. Most people like to get the word out there,
Yeah.
what they're about. I did have one guy recently who didn't want me to put the footage out because of some legal wrangle he's got going on at the moment. But I always respect people's decisions like that.
Yes.
I always ask if I'm out on the street in my portable kit on a London march or the other things I go to, and I'm filming away, I always ask people if they want to be filmed and interviewed, because I like doing these quick street interviews sometimes. And if they say no, I don't want that, I respect their decision. So I'm always respectful of people.
Well, I'm so thrilled that you could come in and spare the time, having interviewed me, into the studio here, such as it is. I really appreciate that. Tim, it's been lovely to have you on the show. And do go and check out the channel. The link will be in the description. If not, to see the interview with lovely... What you don't realise, ladies and gentlemen, coming up is it does an expose, a walk round my house.
Yes.
And there's a certain something that one of my lovely audience, member of my audience, a chap called Jonathan, sent me. I'm not going to ruin it, but by exposing what it is. But he sent it in, which was absolutely lovely. So you'll have to check his video out just to see that.
It's superb. He made it, and it was his first effort, apparently.
Yeah, it's stunning. So it is amazing. Just before we go, isn't it? Our audiences, I think, are the most amazing people.
They are, yes.
They're so generous, not only with their time and their comments and recommendation, but occasionally, they throw in a bit of money, or they'll make something or send something, and it's so humbling.
Yeah. One thing I've come across in the people in the freedom movement, whether I've met them on London marches, stand in the parks, people like yourself, so many other people, that they're just genuine, lovely people, and we're only doing this, we're only standing up because we care. That's it. And I'm privileged to do my little bit to help people out.
Well, hello.
Oh, we've got
I've got to get another guest, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Are you coming in? Just be careful where you put your feet, because this is Mojo. This is the producer of the show, of course. You've come in from the gallery. He's the one that's been pressing the buttons. And do you want to say anything?
Well, I'd just like to tell you a story.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I think seeing as the producers come in and said, "Oh, we're overrunning," fair enough.
Yeah.
We better let Tim go on his way. But thank you so much, Tim, for coming in.
Thank you, Richard, for having me.
And thank you for the chips and the sausages, which was Tim's shout. It's my shout next time.
Sounds fair enough to me.
Sounds fair. Fair play.
Sounds fair play now, yes, indeed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So don't forget, I should be back with more monologues and interviews, but from Tim and I. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, I've got to get the finger on the button. Otherwise it overruns. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, goodbye.